Mr. Investor, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Nano Dimension, and I have been piecing together pieces of the puzzle. We're going to talk about all the juiciest things, so I hope you find this video super valuable. The king is back on the wall.
King Richie Rich, we love you. This is the king of Nano Dimensions.
So we can see in the pre-market value Nano Dimensions is dropping, and this is because of a share offering. Yes, baby, another dilution is coming. Nano Dimension is pricing in a $500 million registered direct offering, baby. So this is causing the share price to drop. People are selling off, but people will be buying back in. We will be talking about the money in the war chest. It's growing even bigger, and potential acquisitions. We will be talking about the investors' thoughts and ideas surrounding this. The AME Academy, baby. Oh, get funky. Rodeo funky. I also want to talk about the vaccine rollout and the effect that this is going to have on our sales. We're going to talk about all these big markets that we're in. Absolutely huge, baby. This is going to be a magical video. If you're new around here, my name is Miguel and I'm a retail investor here in London. I look for the biggest, juiciest growth stocks we can find on the market, and then we deep dive into that research, baby. I hope that you find my perspective super valuable and entertaining. I just wanted to give you guys something new and just see the bigger picture of what I think can happen with Nano Dimension. Remember, this is not financial advice, it's for entertainment only. And if you like these kinds of videos and you want to help me out, just hit the join button just above my head. You can join any tier and it really helps support me as a creator. If you're unable to join, just hit the like button and click subscribe. I love and appreciate you, and that will mean the world to me. Thank you to Jay, Joseph, TMG, Blue Sky on Mars, and Freddie Lum. Yeehaw! Let us begin. Okay guys, first things first, we've got a direct offering here. So as you can see, we are pricing in our 500 million registered direct offering. And as we expect, when we have a direct offering like this, it means more dilution. So a lot of people are going to sell out and possibly buy back in. Share price is going to drop, and they're saying that they're selling these American depository shares at a price of $12.80 per ADS. Again, they said they want to raise around $500 million. Bada bing. And then they said the same thing about the company intends to use these net proceeds for working capital, other generative corporate purposes, pursuing strategic opportunities, and including possible business combination transactions. So me and you, if we've been invested in Nano Dimension from the beginning, you're not new to this game. You know how many direct offerings we've had already. They want to secure these funds, and we can see that Tesla has done it several times in the past before. Not the first nor their last. Make sure you stick around to the end, because today I'm going to be talking about what I think they could possibly do with this kind of cash monies. So first of all, we can see here that in pre-market value, the stock is dropping 8.4%. But let's talk about some catalysts that's going to make the stock pop, and why some Reddit users are saying you should not lose hope with this stock. So if you guys are familiar with bingo stock, you can see that every time we have a symposium or we have some sort of event, the stock goes flying. So as we know, this AME event is on the 23rd of February 2021. It's coordinated by all these companies, including ID Tech here, Novacentrics, Electro Inks, Nscript, and Nano Dimension. So when we were on Bloomberg TV on the Red Chip Money Report, you can see here we were airing in front of 100 million homes across Europe. The thing that's interesting with this one is we're going to be in front of a lot of professionals, a lot of companies that are actually using additive manufacturing or have an increasing awareness around additive manufacturing. And we know this electronic industry is going to be booming. So we have the chance here to get more brand exposure, more brand awareness. Several investors, maybe institutional investors, are going to be jumping in as well. Speaking of institutional investors, we know our beloved ARK and Cathie Woods has increased their percentage. They've increased nearly 2,000% their shares exchange. So they're increasing their Nano Dimensions holding every single day. And if you want to track ARK Invest daily buys, you can go here to lucidtracking.com. The link is in my description. Let's type in NNDM. Oh honey, let's see how we're doing, baby. And we can see across these portfolios of ARKQ, ARKW, and Israel. So you can see they're increasing ownership in the Israel folder. They're also increasing ownership in the ARKW folder. And ARKQ, they just skimmed a little bit off the top, but you can see here that they've got over $100 million in shares, totaling 7.1 million shares. And if you look at their buying history throughout weeks by weeks, they've just been loading up, and continue to load up, baby. We still have yet to join the ARK PRNT print ETF. This is their 3D printing ETF, and we can see here Exxon is number one in there with $92 million. But I think we may be making an appearance in this in the future. So AME Academy, positive catalyst. Next, let's talk about this catalyst, sales. As we can see here, they were saying that all of the Chinese companies returned to the office, but they delayed purchasing any purchases of capital equipment. and they said the same was with the USA. That's because the big C19 was the absolute elephant in the room. So we've got a lot of customers in the pipeline. There's several stages of the pipeline. You can have like a cold lead, warm lead. You can have people who are about to purchase that baby. Now let's talk about the vaccinations and what they've done for other industries and what it could potentially do for us right now. As you guys may or may not know, I invested in Occidental Petroleum back when the crude oil price was down through the floor and the company was struggling. So now, because of vaccinations and the demand as well, people actually resuming their lives, trying to get back to work, specifically in places like China and India, I think, but also in our Western world. The WTI crude price is going through the roof. There's high demand, there was bankruptcies, but now because of vaccinations, the oil industry is coming back slowly. You can see here, this was a company I invested in earlier. It's now up to $26. It's up 5% pre-market value, and sales have started to boom again. The demand is coming back, all because of vaccination rollout and more usage of oil again. So why are you talking about vaccinations and oil, Miguel? Because when the vaccination programs get rolled out, Yoav was saying that in the third quarter of this year, he expects sales to start to go up again. They expected no revenue last time, but the revenues were better than predicted. So what can this hold for us later on down the line in the third and fourth quarter when hopefully COVID is over and there's no more strains? So I think that the sales pipeline is actually going to boom because we've got all these customers and clients that are in the final few stages before purchase. We have all this funding going into booming industries, and we can actually change the way these industries work. We have the super tech, baby, for us to be cost effective and to print faster than ever. So when Chinese companies, European companies and USA companies come back to office, we are going to be there, baby. So let's look at our customers and let's look at all these leading markets. But before we do that, let's look at the NNDM Reddit group. Shout out to all the mandem 1,600 members. So people in this group believe that it's very positive news that we're actually doing another direct offering because we need cash for acquisitions and possible business transactions and combinations. I know a lot of you were saying that we should compare and contrast Nano Dimension and Exxon, but what if these guys actually do a little merger? That would be crazy. Other people in this group were actually celebrating the dilution. They were saying $1.5 billion cash on hand, baby. Boom! People were saying that $1.5 billion cash on hand, something big is about to happen. So some people were saying they're actually going to buy the dip. As soon as the market opens up, they'll continue to buy down. So now let's talk about what they're going to do with our money. So remember interviews on the Red Chip Money Report and also for TD Ameritrade. This man here, Yoav Stone, he stated that he believed the company was undervalued in his opinion, and he thinks that the PCB market alone is worth $75 billion. He's also said that he expects a dramatic change in behavior in the Western-based companies due to the limitations of having a supplier abroad. And you see, the thing is, he's not wrong, because as you can see here, the White House is scrambling to address the global chip shortage. So everybody is scrambling. We're trying to find ways that we can actually get these global chips and all types of electronics actually. As we can see here on the Financial Times, they've said the Biden administration has pledged to take immediate action to address a global shortage of semiconductors that has forced the closure of several US car plants. Over here, baby, on Automotive News Europe, you can see Volkswagen blames suppliers for microchip shortages. This is February 16, 2021. They're saying these suppliers, they're unreliable. So as you can see here, the company told its suppliers in April last year when much of the global car production was idle due to the C virus pandemic. So you can see here they were frustrated. They have communicated their demand early on. We have passed on our forecast which confirmed that demand. So if our suppliers do not trust our numbers and consult their own forecast, we should have been informed straight away. This has not happened. So as you can see here, this is an identification of potential weaknesses in the automotive supply chain. So if there is shortages in the supply chain, what will that mean for us? Baby, Yoav. Yoav has said that he wants to bring manufacturing power back to the West. So if he's able to supply this machine to manufacturers in the West, but also if they're unable to, he could also do the NanoS service. So literally we could be printing out these devices. We could be printing all the high level components and devices. Our beloved Dragonfly LDM can be printing for us, printing that cash moolah, baby. So even here in the UK electronics website, you can see when is the electronics components shortage expected to end. And for years and years, even through 2018 and 2019, the forecasts and the fallout of the shortages could last years after this period. And right now we are experiencing this, as we can see. With all the new gaming consoles, with all the automotive industry, we are experiencing a huge shortage in the semiconductor industry, particularly these chips, baby. It's being covered almost every single day in the news as we get these shortages across the world. And these shortages are costing money to suppliers. This is costing money to suppliers. It's costing money to people who are actually producing the products. And just below me here, you can see that back in 2019, the global semiconductor market stood at $513 billion US, and it's projected to reach up to 726.7 billion by 2027. In terms of all the markets put together, the global 3D printed electronics market is segmented by products. So you got antennas, sensors, heaters, PCB and others, right? You can also see some stuff about production lining, manufacturing, rapid prototyping, and the end user being aerospace, defense, consumer electronics, medical, telecom and others. We are in all of these industries. Now look at the growth that they're going to experience. So here on Data M Intelligence, you can see the market overview. The global 3D printed electronics market is expected to grow at a compounded annual growth rate of almost 40%, 39.5% during the period of 2020 to 2027. And here you can see 3D printing or additive manufacturing is the process of making three-dimensional solid objects from a digital file. There's also massive demands on 3 continents. You can see North America here, you can see Asia Pacific, and you can see Europe. And who are the key players? They stated that the manufacturers, some of the key players in the 3D printed electronics markets are Nano Dimension. We are number 1, baby. And all of these people could offer possible acquisitions or mergers if we choose to work with them. And I'm going to show you how big the global consumer demand is for electronics. This number they typed in here on Market Watch and it looks messy, but basically the global consumer electronics market is going to be worth $1.7 trillion and it's going to be growing at a compounded annual growth rate of 4.9% by 2030. This is because of the Internet of Things. We're talking about so many different smart devices. Here they're saying the global consumer electronics market, anything from commercial, personal types that are TV, audio devices, telecom, computers, mobiles, gadgets, so much more. And Yoav Stern didn't lie to us just about global printed circuit boards. So we're talking about the PCB market. He said $75 billion by 2025. It might even be more than that. And we mustn't forget that we could also be a part of the aerospace industry, and also there's lots of global consumer electronics repair and maintenance required. So could we also be part of this market too in terms of electronics repair and maintenance? Print those PCBs, print the circuit boards, baby. I wanted to show you about the military aspect as well. You can see here global electronic warfare market is expected to be valued at $13 billion in 2020, but by 2030 they're expecting it to be $15.6 billion. I think it'll be a lot more because electronic warfare is so wide and vast, it can actually grow as we get more innovations. And in terms of the global aerospace market, we can see here that it's going to be experiencing a crazy growth to $378 billion by 2023, but it could possibly be the next $1 trillion industry. Also, with lots of companies like Volkswagen blaming suppliers for microchip shortages, will we be able to grow within the automotive industry? I think we can get a lot of business there too. So now I'm going to summarize and we're going to talk about what we could possibly spend another 500 mil on. So we're going to have $1.5 billion. So we could either acquire a materials manufacturing company, we could be acquiring a software company that's going to help us become super smooth at printing. Could we acquire companies that are slightly different from us, that are accessing the same markets but just with different materials? Could we use the remainder of this money to actually subsidize this machine and actually manually force companies in the high performance industries to adopt the machinery? Add some free training to their staff too, make it a nice little package, baby. Now we're talking that good. So imagine they have the machine, any update for software, we can actually charge for training, we can actually charge for loads of nano ink on a global scale if we just subsidize this machine and get it out there in front of them, baby. Also, if we were to merge or partner with a company like this, we can collaborate, innovate and accelerate our products, baby. There's also some speculation surrounding some inside information about executives speaking to this company. So on Reddit, somebody said that their friend was actually talking to a Nano Dimensions executive and they may or not be buying one of these kinds of companies, so they have different types of materials that they can work with. So if we were to buy these guys, we can put some money into research and development for us and them. And you can see here at the bottom that they have key segment markets that are the same as us: electronics, printed circuit boards, aerospace, military, defense, medical, optical, dental devices, and loads of different components, baby. And if we still have cash left over, we could probably make an even better model of this too. So we can work on mass production models and mass manufacturing. We can make it even more streamlined, we can make it even more efficient. And maybe, just maybe, we could actually go into semiconductor production, because if no one can get it, tell them to send us the digital file and we will provide. And as we know, this nano service actually experienced some growth in the last quarter. We actually started to get more demand for this as people were unable to access their suppliers over in maybe the eastern part of the world, where we have all this shortage and all this backlog of orders. As you can see here, that their plan for 2021 was actually riding the elephant and expanding their nano services as a revenue generator. So even though we didn't spend no money or we spent minimal investments in sales and marketing, I think that we're going to get a lot of sales towards the end of the year as industries are looking to innovate and change the way that they manage their production lines. Because a lot of industries are actually being held up by the C19 virus and a lot of suppliers are actually struggling to provide for the demand. Now, all of these are just suggestions of what could happen, right? But we never know until we see some action. So there's lots of investors that have actually exited and made some good money. I love seeing you win. I'm happy you guys got some decent money. But for me personally, I think that I'm not exiting for quite a long time. I believe in this company and I think that we're going to make some serious cash in the future. So I have no idea what the future will hold. I've been trying to get an interview with our main main man Yoav. However, I do believe that NNDM will have a bright future, especially with all these marketplaces blowing up and all these industries. Literally every day we get bombarded with news about the automotive industry and the global EV race between Tesla and NIO, and now an analyst has said that Volkswagen will actually overtake Tesla in EV sales by 2025. So with Nano Dimension, we never know what could happen, but we are in some great markets. We've got a bright future ahead if we manage to do what Yoav is saying we're going to do. 100,000 machines being used for mass manufacturing, printing that nano-silver ink money, baby. I put my heart and soul into my research and my videos, guys. I want to provide the most valuable and entertaining information I can give you. Shout out to Richie Rich, baby. If you guys enjoy these kinds of videos, just hit the join button just above my head. You can choose any tier of membership and just know it will help support me as a creator. But if you're unable to join memberships, just you hitting like and clicking subscribe on this video means the world to me. I love and appreciate you guys.
My nano dimensioners.
Yeehaw! Mr. Investor over and out. And until next time, baby.